Okay. So first of all, I would like to thank you guys for finding me worthy to share my experience and insights on transitioning to finance. Yeah, I don't take it for granted. And the topic is something I can relate with so very well because I can still remember how I struggled. Starting with I can ATS, thinking 200 level. No, I remember then at the ICANN class. In fact, I was the only one who had science background, while the others were, well, all of them studied accounting, and they were even studying accounting even at the university, while I was studying agricultural economics. So it was like learning two things at a time for me. Then I was right for my bachelor in technology. I was studying science, and then with ICANN studying accounting, finance, and related topics. So I understand the challenge, and I just feel, yeah, I think I will just share my thoughts, my experience, what I went through, and how I was able to navigate through, which I think can be valuable for one or two persons. Okay, so can you move to the next slide? So, and by the way, like Bukola mentioned, we have a lot of questions. So I will try and round up my presentation in 30 minutes and then take the questions for 20, 30 minutes also. So that is, we can cover as much as possible. So overview, we have an overview, talk about career flexibility in today's world. My transition, I will share my experience. Then smooth career shifts into finance. What are these strategies that you can adopt? And then the challenges, common challenges, which I believe anyone transitioning will have to pass through and how to overcome them. And then I will have my final thoughts. So can you move to the next slide? Okay. Yeah, so I think the overview kind of explains itself so that we don't waste time. Okay, so flexibility. So career flexibility in today's world. So I know we are not new to it. Probably there are a lot of us. I will, maybe before I even start, what maybe I need to know my audience. Like, are you students? Are you professionals? Like, what's the what's the barrier of the majority? Hey, Bukola, can you answer that on
Yes,
behalf of
so
everyone?
we are a mixture of undergraduates, recent graduates, youth corpers,
Okay.
working professional 0 to 2 years, and working professional 3 to 5 years. But we are more of recent graduates.
Okay. 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 Thank you for that. So anyone can transition into any different field at any point in time. That's very vital, and that's the perfect way to start. So all that is required is for you to go through the required process. No, now I will give you a lot of examples because I don't like talking too much theory. I love practical. And so personally, I have a lot of friends that we also uh, studied science together, right from secondary school, primary school, secondary school, up to university. And today, in fact, my course mate right back in school, I can say it's authoritatively that 99% of them are not even are not even doing anything related to what we study. And that applies to all courses, almost all courses. So anybody can work. You can be a graduate of engineering, and at the point of your graduation, you say I want to venture into finance. You are free. In fact, you will even excel. My current manager writes in Deloitte now, right in task. So he studied uh, electronics engineering. That's- that was what he studied. It's my, it's my manager doing tasks today. So wherever, I mean, I expect that all of you have interest in finance. So wherever, whatever is your background, just forget it. You can excel, you can venture into finance and excel so well, perfectly, even more than those who even had a strong background, uh, probably education in finance. And that's also one thing that I experienced along the way when I was writing ATS and when I was in school. In fact, because I was clearing all the papers, test one, test two, test three. I didn't have any reference. Meanwhile, some of my colleagues that were even studying accounting, some of them were having references. Some will not even pass anyone. It's not about making jest of them, just trying to send out the point that you can learn anything. And that's my own personal belief. I believe I can learn anything at any point. So far, I want to. I can learn anything at any point, at any time, so far I want. That's the mindset I have, and which I believe will be nice if one or two persons can also adopt that. So next is many university graduates end up in professions unrelated to their studies. Yeah, I think I've mentioned one of the things on this, and this is common, but it's like this is the fashion nowadays. It's a fashion because the reason why this is really happening is because majorly because I think two things. I think number four is the second one. But it's majorly because most of us when we want to start our higher tertiary education and the HND or BSc, tech, whatever. So most times the kind of courses we get, also, I don't know, should I say most times? Like, okay, let me be modest. Let me say many times the courses that we get to study are not the courses that we apply for. Like me personally, I applied for computer science and they gave me agricultural economics. And some people apply for medicine, they give them one agricultural biochemistry, something, something. So most times, again, let me correct myself. Many times. I'm saying most times because that cost across most of my friends, most of my colleagues, most of my close pals. So, and that's why by the time you now graduate, you now feel like, what's the essence of this? Like in the first place, I didn't have interest in this. I just got this out, and then you can move, you can change, and that also it's also possible for you to easily transition because of number four. Yes, employers today focus more on skills, grade, and adaptability than specific degree requirements. Now, I want to say something. If you are the kind of person who you are very how do I put it? Like you pay attention to data or you pay attention to trends. Now, if you look at the past five, should I say five? Yes, let me say 5 to 10 years. Look at how vacancies are posted. Look at what are the contents of those vacancies. Now, many years ago, 5, 10 years ago, you see someone who studied accounting. For example, they want to hire an accountant. They say educational qualification, HND, BSc in accounting, or they want to recruit, for example, for a task. They say in accounting, in business administration. But nowadays, what you see is in most of them, what you see is social. They just generalize everything. Social courses. So that's been the trend that has evolved over time now. Social courses. And the funny thing is now at this point now, most vacancy posts and like that say they don't even say social courses. What they now kind of lay on is your grade. So they say someone who has a 2-1 or someone with first class or 2-1. I think most of them nowadays is 2-1 first class. So that's why if you're a student, please first your studies. If you have to, I have a friend like that, very sound guy. In fact, recently, I think just is it last week? Yes, in fact, just last week, I'll be sharing this experience. Just last week, my manager reached out to me like because the work is so much, and it was like, can I recommend somebody that I can vouch for? No, for they can easily recruit. They have thousands of people who will apply if they post out a vacancy, but they just wanted someone that another person can vouch for. So it was like maybe my previous colleague, my previous workplace. So and then there was this guy, very sound guy, and I reached out to him. So and then he was telling me that he had two that graduated with two that as you not even bother because of course in those most of the big four, all of the big four, the standard is 2-1. I think that's so the point I just I derailed a little. The point I just made there was if you are still in school, please finish your studies squarely, please. Because at the end of the day, you might put yourself at a disadvantage. So that's just by the way. So I was talking about grade, grade, and so okay, yeah, I think it's the same thing, the same line of thought. So they now focus the focus of recruiters nowadays is based on grade. Someone with 2-1 first class, I think that's almost some still take 2-2, of course. So so it has changed, things have evolved, and things keep evolving. This keeps changing now and then, every day, and every moment. So the flexibility is there. You want to venture into finance, don't worry, you can. Whatever struggle you are currently going through, just put your mind at rest. You will, if you really have interest, I can assure you that you will excel in that field. So can you move to the next slide? So are we still with me? If you are with me, let me see some encouragement, some thumbs up, show of love, show me love. Thank you. Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So now my transition to finance. So let me briefly summarize my own experience. Like I've mentioned, I started from my secondary school. I was in science class. Not that I wanted to be in science class, but why I think when we were moving from JSS to SS, everybody want to be science. Everybody wanted to be in science class. It's only those who are dull or those who don't know book too much. Those are the ones they move to commercial and arts. Arts is even those who don't even know anything. I don't know. Like that was back then. That was more like that was that was more like the practice. So everybody just wanted to be in science so that you will see that this one's a big book, this one no book, just to be categorized in that one. And that was why I ventured into science, and I wanted to become a doctor at a point. Well, I was struggling with all this basic biology, I hated chemistry. It is all those courses. I hated them with so much passion. And after that, my scores were so very, very, very low, like low, so very low. I remember at the point, I think at SS1, I was scoring like F9, a lot of them. So I was sure that this is not my way, but because of maybe peer pressure or societal kind of conditioning, like everybody must be in science, you must be in science. The best people are in science. That was why I continued with science right from my secondary school, and of course, but something I noticed was that I was kind of excelling in those courses that were not really scientifically, or how do I put it? They're not really science based. So, for example, like agriculture, agriculture is not really a science course, not really too much. There are even economics because in secondary school you do some of these other courses. I think we also did English language, one or two other courses are not really science courses. So, but all those courses, I was doing well in them. I was enjoying them. Agricultural, I was doing agriculture. I was doing well, of course. I was not. It's not that I was done, but those physics, chemistry, I don't know. I just did not understand. I just didn't understand it. That was just the point. Yeah. And so I applied for computer science, which I mentioned, at Lautech. I don't know. Is there any Lado kite here? Lado kite. Anyone who studied at Lautech? Nobody. If you are there, just unmute. Give me a greatest ladukite. Okay, so I applied for computer science, and then I was even agricultural economics, and I continued with the course. And so while I think at 100 level now, somebody just advised me. I think it was a senior colleague. So just advised me that I can't you write all this ICANN something something. I'd never heard of ICANN before in my life at that point. So it was like, why can't you apply for ICANN ATL, AAT? That was how I started. And then I think I cleared all my ATS while I was still in school. I think up to was it 400 level? Yes, 400 level. Then I wrote ICANN skills level at 500 level because at LabTech every course is 5 years. So that was how I started with finance. That's why I started gaining. In fact, that was where I developed interest in house. Because I remember the guy that taught us, that took us stats at the account class. Then that guy is so sound. He made it so interesting that from there, that was where I developed interest in fast from person. In fact, I remember when I started work about 2 or 3 years, I still went back to that note that guy taught us to reference one or two things because he was so good and he made the course so interesting. I don't know. So and that was where I started. And then when I graduated, I think I completed ICANN when I was, yes, at the moment I was about to be mobilized for NYSC. That was when I completed ICANN. Uh, so of course, so when I completed my service year, think I think less than a month or so, I got an offer with the audit firm. That's my first workplace, the Jewelry and Co. So and of course, I was able to get that because of my the background I'd also built over the years through the AAT account program. And of course, that was how I was able to get that because I remember of course, we wrote tests. It was about 2 hours test. That test was so serious before we now went through the interview. But I was able to answer those questions because I've learned a lot of things through the ICANN ATS program. But yes, I already completed ICANN self. Like I mentioned, I completed ICANN I think just a month to go to NYC service. So, and that was how I broke into the finance accounting space. That was my experience. So, is there anything I didn't? Yeah, I think I've covered all. Yeah. So let's move on to the next slide. Yeah. So smooth shift. Okay. So maybe one thing I should share is maybe let me share some kind of struggle I had. And I remember when I made the post about this topic, I shared a little bit of the experience I had, which was about debit and credit. That was really tough for me. Like, it was really hard to differentiate between debit and credit. For example, I can't forget depreciation account, and then from nowhere they said there is also accumulated depreciation account. I was like, what's the what's the difference between depreciation account, which is an expense, accumulated depreciation? I can never forget that experience. When I did, in fact, all through while I wrote, I was very weak in accounting, very weak. But I don't know. God was just helping me. I was just passing because I think I'm good with theoretical questions. When it has to do with preparing accounts, in fact, my account never balanced, never ever, never ever. I do not even care whether my account will balance. It had never crossed my path that because I knew myself that there is no way my account will balance, no way. So I never even cared about it. My eyes just follow the process, do as much as you can, and move on. And it never balanced, and I never cared whether it balanced or not. So because I was struggling with, there's no way an account to balance. You don't understand the rudiments of debit and credit, and it can be quite complex. Can be very complex, so more than the usual one. But then after a while, then I discovered that this thing is simple now. This thing is simple. If you can get the rudiments and can understand even the most complex of account postings, you will say that it's very easy. So far, you understand the logic behind it. So that was a struggle I had, which I think I should have mentioned in the previous slide. So now, talking about a smooth shift, how can you shift smoothly? So the first is self-learning. Self-learning, that is the major route for you to transition easily. Self-learning, you have to do a lot of self-learning, like yourself, oh, not somebody teaching you. Go and look for materials, look for courses, look for videos, YouTube videos. One thing I don't joke about is, even up to now, if there's any topic that I don't really understand, I want to get a grasp on, I go to YouTube. There are a lot of, even when I was writing my ACCA, most of the materials I used were YouTube, just YouTube. So while reading through the test, if there's any topic I don't understand, I just go to YouTube, and it's more for me, maybe for me then, I get more, I get explanations better when I watch those videos than when I read this myself. So explore various materials that are various materials. I also remember there was a time at the initial stage of my career I was struggling with some tax topics, like withholding tax, VAT. In fact, I could not even differentiate between withholding tax and VAT. After that was after about 1 year of work experience. So, but how did I overcome this? Self-learning. I continued to learn because of that mindset which I mentioned. I don't believe there's anything that I cannot know. So, in fact, looking back now, I I I now tell myself that if I can rewind time, maybe I will understand physics and chemistry. Maybe because my mentality now is there's nothing I cannot understand. Because self-learning helps so much. Self-learning. Explore courses, explore books. Books. I remember when even after I finished that camp, I went to go and buy secondary school textbook, secondary school accounting textbook. You believe that somebody who is icon charters is now going to buy secondary school accounting book textbook because I wanted to understand some rudiments. So you cannot, there's no way you can escape it. There's no way you can transition smoothly, especially if you are struggling. If you are not ready to invest in self-learning, it's more like you helping out yourself. Nobody will help you out in this sense. The major part of help that you need is what you yourself you have to offer yourself, just like self-development. You want to be a sound professional, it depends 90% on you. 90% on you. Then 10% on probably what another person can assist you to do. So always have that at the back of your mind. Self-learning, self-learning, and self-learning. And that is continuous. It does not end. You continue to learn it, you continue and continue and continue. So and then certifications, of course. I think this will resonate with every one of us. Get all those certifications. I can. This is not very expensive because of the pounds. You have the CFA. So I always advise people just do I can, do I can, just do. If I have to choose, I used to sometimes I used to just maybe just think it within myself. Like if I have to choose just one out of all my certifications, I will choose I can over and over and over again. So if you want to transition to finance, I can is very, very important. Let's just say CFA. CFA is extremely it's extremely expensive. I saw the cost recently. I think someone posted this in a group. I was like, and it's not as if there is a certainty that you will pass. Oh. Like, I remember when I was writing this, when I failed, I think I failed, of course, it's twice. So the what pained me more was not the idea of failing, but it was the money that I was kind of thinking, wait till love idea. I, you pay the cost of the exam is in pounds, and you have to convert. And up to now, in fact, it has now doubled, like or tripled. I mean, that's tripled now. To even pay for me to pay my subscription, I think I paid it. I paid it. I completed it in April. So I paid it over 3 months. Because by the time I converted it, 600,000 naira. Just Just for suspicion. So those international exams are so costly now. So that's why I can, if you want finance to, I can is number one. I can is number one. And I can is cheap. It's not, maybe I should not use the word cheap because that might be relative. But it's not cost because you get to write four courses at, I don't know how much now. Can anyone confirm? How much do you write four courses? How much do you pay? Okay. So in summary, it is affordable. It is very affordable. Unlike, because even when you are paying for ICANN, when you are writing, if you are writing two, three courses, then you get some, is it some discounts or at least reduced rates than when you are registering for one course. But for ACCA, you pay per course. It's per course. If you want to write for, you pay per course. And that's one of the reasons why it's so very expensive. And CFA, like I said, is but if you have the money, why not? Why not? And a lot of people are writing it, people are passing it. I see a lot of that on LinkedIn. So why not, if you have the money? But certification is very important. Because me, I even believe the knowledge to gain from all these professional certifications is even higher than what we gain from educational institutions. So many of them, their syllabus are so old, but these professional bodies, they update their syllabus almost every time. I think now we have a new syllabus now, so at least to reflect the current issues, current things are. So that's why those courses are very good. And then networking, connecting with finance professionals for guidance and opportunities. And this can be so very vital. If you have someone, a go-to person, I can always refer to. Maybe you have something your boss asked you to do, and then you are struggling with it, and for whatever reasons there may be, you don't want to go back to your boss. If you have someone you can always refer to, hey, how can you help me understand this particular topic? I want to do this. What are the ways I can go through it? So that can also help out. That can also, but you have to be very strategic. I think I had a session yesterday. I was talking about networking. Networking is not just you collecting cards, collecting people's card, and putting it in your wallet, putting it in your bag. That's not networking. If you want to network, you must be very deliberate. Deliberate, intentional, and very strategic. Like, and I think somebody was talking about relationship between a mentor and a mentee. It was like both of them must add value. So I think it was Apostle Joshua Selman. So it was like both parties must bring value to the table. Now you want someone who can always guide you. What value are you bringing to the table? It might be gratitude. It might be you supporting the person, whatever that person is doing. One very good example I always give is, once you see someone on LinkedIn, you want to network with that person, you want to get closer, you want to build a relationship. The best way to go through it, and not this best way to go through that, is turn on the notification bell on their post. Every post they make, like and comment, like and comment. I can tell you, after a while, they'll be the one to reach out to you, like, hey, how are you doing? They'll be the one to want to initiate contact, because they're also getting value from you. And that's how life works. Nobody will, like, value is not free. It's not free. It's not free anywhere. You also have to give value for you to get value. Just like investment, you want more money, you have to put down money for you to gain more money. That's how life works. It's just like the law of sowing and reaping. You have to sow something for you to reap something. So you have to be strategic. Maybe one of these days I will take a topic. Yeah, I think for in a group where I could I found that networking is one of the topics. So maybe I will share it on my timeline. We will now discuss it in full fledged. So gaining experience, internship, of course, volunteering, junior finance role. I intentionally put this junior finance role, regardless of years of experience. Don't say you that you are just you are just moving to finance. Maybe you have 2, 3, 4 years experience somewhere else, and they ask you to start as audit training, or you see an audit training role, and you are like, I'm too big for this now. How me I go dey apply for graduate training? If they play, now there you go there, and then you go there. Yeah. So whatever opportunities that you can get for guys, especially when you are just coming in into finance, just take it regardless of who is your boss. But let me say this: I have a manager. Or should I? Okay, don't let me, because don't let me say this. But the point I wanted to make is, you can even get, you can you can find yourself in a kind of situation where even the person you are reporting to is someone that should be your junior on a normal day. But then it doesn't mean, who cares? So far, you are getting value. Uh your intention, your desires are getting fulfilled. So don't worry about the role. So far, it aligns with finance. You want to come into finance, don't mind the role that you get. Just take it and start learning from there. So, and then gaining experience, yeah, internship. I think that was what I just discussed about. Then leveraging existing skills. Yeah. So there are some skills that cost across every profession, not just a finance. So some of them like analytical thinking, the soft skills generally. You can also leverage on that. You are good in problem solving. That's something I'm good in. That's something God has blessed me with. I can see any work they give me, I will just find a way. God will just help me find a way to just solve it out. So if you are good at problem solving, analytical thinking, you can bring that on to finance. So it's relevant for your finance career also. So, and business understanding from your pure feed cut across every profession. Yeah. So let's move. Okay, so what are the challenges and remedies? One, facing doubts and feeling inadequate during transition. Yes, I felt this. This happened to me. That was why I put it as number one. So when you are just transitioning, you will have doubts. In fact, you will doubt yourself. In fact, you get to a point, you'll be like, maybe I should just stop this transition. Let me just continue with whatever field, whatever knowledge I currently do, or whatever I currently do, whatever I currently know how to do. So that will come. That will surely come. That will surely come. But then you have to be dogged. You have to be dogged. Just continue that self-learning, like I mentioned. That's you always continue to eat back on that. You have to continue to learn, continue to learn, continue to learn, continue to learn. Watch videos, like I said, and if there are things that you still do not understand, reach out to somebody, reach out to someone. So then, okay, I think the solution I put out, this is normal. You have to grow beyond this feeling. Yes, you have to grow beyond it. Then adapting to a new curve outside one's academic background. Yeah, so we're about to put in more work to speed up the learning experience. So that means, no, the example I gave, that when I was writing ATS, that I was the only one with science background. I was studying at while the others were fully studying uh, accounting already. So, but what I did was, I didn't just sit down there and say, I will get better, I will get better. I read more, read, and read. I read repeatedly and repeatedly. So that means you have to put in more work for you. Hmm? You have to put in more work to speed up the learning process. More learning, watching videos, like I said before, reading materials. You have to put them on and learn and learn and learn and learn and learn. Again, I would say there is nothing you cannot understand. If you are really interested, there is nothing. So probably there is a topic that don't really, you are struggling with, or maybe a topic you are struggling with, just like I also did. So if you just continue to learn it, continue, repetition, put it on repetition mode, I can assure you, full assurance, at the end of the day, it's a breakthrough, and you get to understand. whatever it is you are struggling with. So, and then lack of traditional finance experience we also take its toll. Again, this is also normal, of course. It is a challenge you have to take on through consistent learning. So can I say again, consistent learning? That's the major solution to all these problems. All the problems are like the consistent learning. Then dealing with workplace bias toward conventional finance degrees. Yeah, so now I've met a couple of friends, or I have a couple of friends. Those I think one recently who transitioned to finance. I think she studied psychology, this psychology or something like that. Why was we making jokes about that? What's the essence of psychology? Like I was like, when you were picking this course, what job did you have in mind to uh that after your school, this is the job I'm going to. Maybe I'm ignorant, maybe there are courses, but I don't know. But we're just making jest of her. So, but then the point is there will be some bias from the workplace. No, I think a couple, is it a couple? No, no. I think about 8, 10 years ago, there was some kind of grunting among those who studied accounting, I think within ICANN. So they were like, why is it that those you are taking on people without a background in accounting? So some were like, let's restrict this to those who study accounting. And that is, should I say, is normal? But it happens. Sometimes we have what we call unconscious bias, and it happens. It also happens in the workplace. So the solution to that is bias from a few persons doesn't stop determined people. So besides, knowledge is free and open to anyone willing to learn. No one has a monopoly of knowledge. It's not a random quote. It's a fact. Nobody, nobody has monopoly of knowledge. If there's anyone you look up to today, hmm, especially a professional, the only thing that person has, or the only advantage they might have over you is just knowledge. It's as simple as that. So, and then the knowledge is there. Knowledge is everywhere now, right there on your phone. Knowledge is everywhere. You can grasp it, understand it. Knowledge is free for anyone willing to learn. So, the next slide. Bukola, I say, okay, thank you. So my final thoughts before we now move to those questions, the career paths are fluid. Yes, no one is logged into their degree. So you are not logged into your degree. If you have such a mentality, please change it straight away. No one is logged to their degree. So my journey convinces me that early preparation and persistence also matters. So and then ensure to take steps towards your desired profession, regardless of background differences. Ensure to take steps excuse me, towards your desired profession, regardless of background differences. No, I think that was how I even started that background don't really matter nowadays. In fact, uh, my elder sister, she studied is it electronic or electrical engineering. My sister cannot join two wires together. Someone who studied engineering for 5 years, she cannot join two wires together. Anything that has to do with wire is me that I studied agriculture. Hey, so it's me that I studied agriculture. I'll be the one to to be joining wires. Why the one that studied the electrical electrical engineering cannot touch wire? So because I think the essence of education, especially right from secondary right to even tertiary, sometimes, although it is good that you study. For example, now I wish I had studied accounting. I wish that. So it is good that you study what you eventually go into, but if you don't, it's all fine. It's all fine. It's all fine. So take steps towards your desired profession, regardless of your background differences. And that's how I'll end it. Thank you for listening. So Okay, if degrees don't define careers anymore, what's stopping you from making a move? What is you? You are the one stopping you. Whatever you desire, whatever career you want to venture into, you can. You can. Even if you want to, now you are an accountant and you want to become a doctor, it's not too late. Just go back to school and study medicine. It's as simple as that. So nothing should stop anyone from becoming what they want to become. Yeah, that's how I would end it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tomi Akinwale. Like you said, nothing should stop anyone from becoming what they want to. So, can we put in the chat box what we have learned? So, if there's one thing that really stood up for me, is fact that he said that I wrote it down. He said the no one is locked into that degree, right? So, I have some friend. I was like, no, I cannot spend 4 5 years studying this thing and
Hmm,
now how to leave a certificate. I'm like, really? What is like what matters, right? Is it you fulfilling that course, or you actually
mhm,
um having a fulfilled life, doing whatever you want to do? So don't be like, after I've already wasted 5 years. If that's not what is working for you, move to what is working for you, right? So exactly. Someone said change is constant. Discipline and preparation are very important traits to transition. So don't be stuck in one place because you feel that okay, that's why I studied. My right side, I should become a doctor and everything.
mhm,
If medicine is not working for you, please don't try and kill people and don't try and take away lives because you want to try and save life. If you know that is not medicine you want and you've tried all you can and it's not working, I think you just like move to what you know that okay, this is where I find fulfillment, right? Have the mindset, like someone else said, have the mindset that you can learn anything. Like I said, I studied economics, but I'm currently in the accounting sector. And I wish I actually studied accounting, but I'm like, okay, well, there are still ways I can see apply this my economics knowledge to it and everything. Maybe when I'm trying to
mhm.
like, analyze the market and everything. Okay, fine, that's still good. But that doesn't still stop me from learning about accounting and doing like and like so. Right about now, we'll be moving to our questions because we have quite a lot of questions and yeah. So let me okay share. Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes, because
Okay. So Divine says continuous learning is indispensable if you grow in. Okay, let me just read the comment section. So she says he or she, I don't know if she it says continuous learning is indispensable if you must grow in whatever field you choose or are in. Actually, yes, continuous learning is indispensable. So our first question is what are the challenges that are faced while transitioning from a non-financial background to a financial person? What are the challenges that are faced? I think he has touched some of it though, but you can still just speak on it a little bit. Yeah.
okay, challenges faced. So I think the major challenge is understanding the basic concepts. So it can be quite challenging because those who have the background over the years, that's what they've been studying, that's what they've been applying. So I think for any field, any profession, any expertise, the major challenge is understanding the basics, understanding the logics, the basics. I simply just the basics. So
Yeah.
that was what I also struggle with, and of course, the basis of accounting is debit and
Debit
credit.
and credit.
Which I
So I
also
struggle with
struggle
debit and credit. I will not like debit and credit. Sometimes I'll be like this. Okay, this one debit, this one credit. I'll have to like demonstrate credit. Okay, it's debit and credit. But like you said, the basics like is the root. That's the root from where the plant to grow from. So you have to learn the roots. In this case, it's like for accounting is debit and credit. So for number two, explain the difficulties. I think you have already explained
it's the same one.
yeah, that has been answered. So number three, what um certifications are your priorities? So now we know that we have ACA, we have CFA, FMVA, ETTF, some people are confused. What certifications are a priority? Yeah, for
So I think I mentioned that too. For me, and this is my opinion, I can is priority. I can is priority.
okay. Okay, so let me just speak more on this. So I don't think that it depends on what area of finance you want to go to, right? if you don't want to go to the accounting side, probably want to go to the maybe like financial analyst kind of side, and you have the money for CFA. We know how expensive CFA can be. So if you have the fund or you have a sponsor for your CFA and you want to go into that line, sure, why not? You can do CFA. Yeah. So I think you just focus on what area of finance you want to go to, because like I said earlier, like finance is very, very broad. So you have to know where you're going to first, or if you miss road. So number four, how do I secure is one moving? Okay, sorry. I forgot that on the screen. Number four says, how do I secure finance internships and go about deciding what finance qualification to take?
Hmm, that's a tricky one. So secure not just finance internship, securing job nowadays you have to be very strategic, and many times you can leverage on networking, and a very good example is through LinkedIn. So you can just try for yourself, look at one or two people in the industry or even recruiters that can connect with. And like I talked about networking, engage them, make an impact. For example, now, I think over the past week or so, I've had to make referrals. And then the moment I got those referrals, of course, there will be some people that will first come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
And why would they come to my mind? Because something has over the course of time, something has brought us together that we have interacted, and some things I've seen about them for a while, and then I'll be like, oh, this person can do this. So that's one of example of strategic networking, and LinkedIn is a very good example with that. So I think let me just
Okay,
talk
thank
it.
you. Yes. So number five, as an employee in one of the big four, what are the factors that has kept you going, even with the high level of demand for meeting deadlines and some very technical deliverables? You know how big four you be. You have just many deadlines. There's somebody just try to call you on Teams. That ringtone used to give me So like how like what
You
are
know, we used to make jest like there are some people outside that want to come to this place. Like,
actually and some people they're very tired.
like there are a lot of
The
people
day.
who would do anything to come to this place. Like
Yeah.
to come and suffer this suffer, like because the deadline is crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. I mean the workload is crazy. So what keeps me
What
going
are you
personally?
doing? Yeah.
So for me, I've experienced consulting work and I've experienced the industry. We call it industry. I think that's more of the term we use in consulting
Yeah.
environment. So consulting, of course, consultants, not just the big four, all the even the indigenous and other consulting firms. And the industry is any company or firm, whatever, that is not a consulting firm. So I've
Mm.
experienced both.
Oh,
So of course I started with consulting, then moved to the industry in quotes, just like I mentioned. And then now I'm back to consulting. So I experienced both before I moved back to consulting, because when I went to the industry, it felt so boring. Like the work was so we go to work by I think 7:30, close by 4. Nothing really challenging. I just preparing financial reports. So just my personal uh
opinion. Yeah.
likeness. No, not even opinion, like that's who
Okay.
I am. Like
Okay.
I'm my kind of person. Maybe I love to work too much. So naturally, so I don't even mind. And then consulting is something I love doing. You know, I enjoy the fact that I'm a consultant to a company
Oh,
than
kind.
being a staff of the company. So I know that I don't know, but there's some kind of how do I put this now? Some kind of uh, status. Maybe I should put it like that. Kind of status. There's some kind of pride I feel when I work in the client office as the consultant.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to job, work, purpose, determining what you really love to do, I think those are one of the things you really need to pick out. Like, do I enjoy doing this thing, regardless of the other side effects, maybe the work, or maybe the money is not even enough. So for me, it's just because I enjoy being a consultant, and that's what keeps me going.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So number 6 says, how can I start tax practice? We know you're tax professional. So how can I start tax practice?
Yeah, so I think I've handled couple of cases like this. So what I recommended for the person was one, go and get ICANN textbooks on tax.
Mm-hmm.
Go and get the textbooks. I think they have textbooks from yes, from the 8 years. Get those textbooks, read through, then move to I think they have for ACS 2 and then ACS 3. So and then move to ICANN skills and skills also has tasks, then move to
Advanced.
the professional, and then
Advanced.
from after that, after you're done with that, now start reading articles, start reading posts, start reading write-ups, because you can't just write-ups are just a big summary of a wide base of knowledge, and that's why you need to start from the basic. Like I always say, start from the basic. So that's a very, very easy way, I can assure you. Just start with that. I can tell you, if you will be a task guru, task expert.
Okay. So thank you. Number 7 has been answered. Number 8, what is the best way to land a finance internship with someone? I think I also answered that about you being
And so
yeah.
for that, you can also leverage on the professional certifications. So you don't have the background, then go and register for professional certification,
Mm-hmm.
professional certificate course. By the time you even put it on your CV, it already sounds as if you're a finance person. So you can even from there get interesting opportunities.
Okay. So number 9 says, how do I gather confidence in this line? I know stuffs, but I'm not confident about them. How do I gather confidence? You know that there are people
Of
that
course,
they
if you're not
know
confident,
they're not confident. Some people they don't know, but the way they carry themselves, like this one knows. Oh, so she said, if I say, how do I gather confidence in this line? Like they know stuffs, but they are not actually confident about it.
so for me, if you say you know something, you're not confident because you don't know enough. If you know something so well, you'll be confident to express it. Maybe you may not be confident, maybe in terms of articulation, how you present. But you don't need to be articulate to project confidence. Just when you know something, you say it, this is it. And then someone who is even more articulate when he tries to challenge you, you say, no, this is what it is. Then you bring proofs. So for me, it's just for this person, I will say it, should I say it confidently? That you don't know enough. Go and know more. When you know so much, no, you won't even talk about whether you're confident or not. You express yourself.
Okay. So number 10 says, how was he able to navigate through finance and what courses did it take? I think you already answered it in your slides. How we able to start ATS and do I can then land audit internship and all. Yeah. So
Mm.
this one thing is control number 11. How can I transition from being a payroll analyst to a finance analyst?
So again, to transition from anything to anything, the first thing and the most important thing is self-learning, which I mentioned. Learn about finance analyst role, learn about the duty, learn about the technical jargons, what entails to finance. Learn and learn and learn. So from that, because for example, now you're a payroll analyst, you want to start as a finance analyst. Who will employ you when you don't have the basic knowledge?
Mm-hmm.
No one employs for except for maybe internship role. Of course, now like I also started, opportunities employed nowadays is based on skills and knowledge, what you know, not really about what you do or what background you have. If you have knowledge about that particular thing, people will give you a chance. So go and learn about finance analyst and what it entails. Learn it so well, go deep, learn and learn and learn. That's my
Yeah.
advice.
So number 11, you have to learn. You can start with internship, start with courses before you transition into the finance analyst. Yeah.
Of
So
course.
number 12 says, how can I delve into the finance world as a fresh graduate? So we know that there's this element of, okay, if now I'm done with school, where do I even start from? Where do I? So how can I delve into the finance world as a fresh graduate?
Of course, you get a finance job. So, although maybe if I cannot take it in this aspect, because I've had a couple of people so ask for my opinion on this. Thoughts about as a fresh graduate, especially, how do I know what particular field, what profession that I should go into? So, what I advise people is just whatever opportunity you get first, just start. So, and then start that. Why, by the way, whatever field or profession that interests you, self-learning, just activate self-learning mode, which I've been mentioning on and on. So how can you delve into finance as a fresh graduate? Learn finance, like practical finance, because sometimes there are some, not even sometimes, a lot of times, or categorically, what applies in practice sometimes can be a little bit different from
Different from,
uh,
yeah.
what the theory, the knowledge you gained over. So just learn about the practical aspects, and then and then of course the job you get. If you get a finance role, good, perfect. If you don't, start with whatever you have and keep learning about finance.
Yeah. Thank you. So number 13 says, how do I transition from audit to core finance? Will my first degree results, that's a 2-2 second class lower, be a bottleneck? So we know that like most companies they will say, oh, from 2-1 and above.
To,
So this person has a 2-2 and wants to transfer from audit to core finance. How does the person transition?
so one thing about recruiters, I don't know if there's any HR person, is the fact that most of those things they put there in job vacancy, you must have this, you must have this. It's just to streamline or to slim down the number of candidates. So by the time they don't get the required, or by the time the expectations are not met, they begin to trim down those barriers, or those points they put there just to limit the advantage. So even as a second class lower, though I will say this, except if you had that grade for reasons beyond your control. Except for that, but if it was not for that, of course, you have not done well. You've not done well for yourself. When you are in school, like I always tell people, place your studies early. But that's gone. That's by the way.
Yeah.
So what you now have to do, because what I even plan to post on LinkedIn is exactly on this about second class, lower, third class, and the likes. So my advice is this is done already. You've not done well, and that is done. But then now what happens? What the position you have put yourself now is that you have to work harder. Like you have to put in more effort. For example, now you said you have a second class lower. So I'm assuming you studied uh maybe accounting related courses. So by now I expected you to have finished ICANN or almost finished. If you have not, then I don't think such person is serious. Because you have put yourself at a disadvantage already. Now you need to uh, take it
Yes.
like be very, very, very desperate about doing something better, adding something. So I think that's just the best way for this person to do.
Okay. So number 14, in summary, the person has an economics background, currently doing ICANN, and still has interest in data analysis. What will the person eventually amount to? Is it a financial analyst? So I think this person is actually mixing um 4 different things together, right? Economics, ICANN accounting, data analysis, and financial analysis. What's the best advice to make
Okay,
this
so so
person is
before I even
working?
take this, I think I should mention for that person who talked about second class loan. So first, you have to know that it's not all companies that say you must have first class, second class. No, it's not. It's not all. A lot of
Yeah.
companies don't mind. But where I first work, I had the second class lower colleague. So it's not all companies that you will say the like fire by force must be it. Well, no, there are several and many companies who
That
take
actually,
second class. So don't let that make you go into depression. There are several opportunities for you to. Just like I said, you have to put in more work. Now you have to do something. You have to add something to it. You have to strive more. So that's that on that. So it's number 14. I'm still trying to understand the question.
This person has an economics background, is currently doing ICANN, has interest in data analysis. What like I think like the person is just trying to make like what would person do? He has like economics ICANN, has interest in analysis, but
Okay, yeah,
what
this
is
one
advice?
sounds like
Like he's
like someone
confused.
who is
Yes, he
confused
has
about
he's
what to do.
confused. Yes,
What to
confused.
do. So the same advice which I give someone else, the same I will give this person. One, whatever job you get now, because you get opportunities can be hard, can be. So it can be sometimes can be easy if God helps you. And then if you are so strategic about it. So start with whatever job you have now, and then start learning, activate self-learning mode, which I've talked about severally. So I don't think I should overflow that again.
Okay. I'm on to the next question.
Yes.
Okay. So this person says, could you please explain the process of this is going to be a long thing, right? Could you please explain the process of filing a remitting withholding tax and take us to the process of payroll? I don't know.
This one, because it has to pay. Is this a
Like
technical knowledge?
it's a actually.
I will have to
It's
send
really,
my account first.
it's really a technical knowledge. So I don't know. Should we move to the next question or do you want
Yes, of
to?
course. No, that's come with a bill.
Yeah, okay, so if you're this person that actually wrote this in, yeah, you could just message him on LinkedIn. Then you can talk about yeah with him.
Yeah, you can check what I want. Fine.
Yeah, so just message him on LinkedIn. So number 16, what successful tips for ICANN for one with little accounting knowledge?
Okay, so again, number one, self-learning. You have to learn more. You have to learn more. You have to dig and dig, search for knowledge more and more and more than the average person. So, and then for ICANN, so another thing you can do for accounting, I think I've also posted it on my online, is practicing questions. That can be so very, very vital. So, what I recommend is you practice questions at least a month before the exam and practice
Mhm.
at least one question, a hopeful one question per day. That helps a lot because one, it helps you to realize the particular topics which you think you know, but you don't. So at least you can finalize on that and be sure of what you know or what you don't know. And then also it helps you to because the exam is tough. That's the reality. The exam is tough. So so for you to now build resilience, to build the agility, how to face the exam because whatever question will come out, still there are still what is in the syllabus. There are still the topics. Sometimes they just kind of twist it just to make it harder. Let people try to think outside the box. So that's where practicing, practicing, in fact, even more important than reading, for me, that's my opinion. When you practice more, you have a high probability of passing.
Yeah, thank you. So my son says presently I just started my NYC journey and it hasn't been smooth. I'm from a finance background, patiently looking for a job, but NYC put me to a village and I feel as if I'm stuck. My life is stagnant. I don't know what to do. So I think this is actually coming to the best person because I think I saw one of your LinkedIn posts of where you posted to share and how you have a year to do. So this person was posted to a village and she's stuck, like he or she's stuck. Her life, his or her life is stagnant. So what can a person do during this is or NYC year to maximize it basically? You can just give a summary brief.
Yeah, process to a village. So the fact that you are in village does not mean you don't have access to knowledge. Man. Knowledge
Yeah.
is right there on your phone.
On your phone. Yeah.
Knowledge is there. So read. For example, now when I was the NYC, my NYC, I had it in the school. So, but during those periods, because I was even teaching agricultural economics, that was what the principal allotted to me to teach. So, but that was when I went to buy accounting secondary school textbook. That's when I started learning. So, you should go and get a textbook on finance, icon, whatever, or try online learnings, videos. They are there. Knowledge is right there, like I said, knowledge is free, knowledge is everywhere. So the fact that you are posted at a village does not stop anything. You are just there for 1 year. After 1 year, you continue your life. So, but don't waste the whole of that 1 year doing nothing.
Yeah.
Find something,
Don't.
learn and learn and learn and learn. Yeah.
Okay. Learn. Don't waste that 1 year. That 1 year is a lot. It can change a lot of things in your life. So number two says all aspects of all aspects of finance and accounting looks enticing and attractive. How do I know my specialty?
So the fact that you don't even know your specialty, anyone you get now, just do it and start. The fact that you don't
Actually,
know yet,
yeah, you
just
never.
start with whatever you get.
Okay, so start with whatever you get. Yes,
So
don't
it will be a different conversation if you have an interest, but what you know, the job
get
you now have is
is
not.
different from your interest. Yeah.
That will be a different conversation
Okay.
entirely.
Okay. So number 19 says, what are the things needed tax to dive into tax professionally as a new job seeker?
So tax is purely about. I used to say tax is 99%. Between 99, no, let me say 90% about laws, and that's why you see lawyers exam in tax.
Mm,
90%
mm,
about laws, and then 5% about
laws.
more things in practice, and then the other 5% to whatever you want to ascribe it to. So laws, if you can get all the tax laws, just be reading them,
Mhm.
reading them.
Yeah.
Just read and read and read and read tax laws. That'll be my recommendation. And then of course read articles because I'm assuming this person already has a background in transition. This is not the first time uh is trying to obtain that knowledge of tax.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So number 20 says, I'm working as a civil servant who needs financial freedom, and I'm an ND holder in banking. How do I start?
Start by going further with your education. Go and get an HND.
Yeah, I'll
Just
be.
that's the next step without any help. Of course, you can run account program alongside it, but the HND should be the priority.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So start with your HND, your BSc. That should be a priority, and then I can. Okay. 21, which is the last one here. I think we have two in the comments section. So that's one here says, how do you transition, and how many years does it take you to transition to finance? Like roughly, like how many years coming from like no background in finance at all? What's the time frame?
Mm, so I would say maybe 3 4 years because of course it took me a while with the ICANN ETS to grasp the knowledge, and then like a year after I graduated also to kind of understand it so well.
Okay, for
Yeah,
okay, like
3 4 years.
3 4 years. Okay, for full practice. Okay, so in the comment section it says, Victoria says, for someone who is interested in investment banking, what certification is important? So that's
So
like,
investment banking.
yeah.
So I don't really know much about investment banking. I know it has to do with all these fund holders and the like. So, but then I think most of them are CFA
I think
charter
CFA,
holders.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
CFA works for it since it's like core finance. So CFA works for investment banking.
they were considered writing CFA.
Yeah. Okay. So someone also says, thank you so much, sir. I'm a graduate of BSc Mathematics and I have skills in data analytics. I'm looking to go into taxation professionally. I would like you to please explain what I need to do to be sound, as I'm yet to have experience. I'm looking into finance too, but I'm good with okay. So basically, like he did BS mathematics and he has skills in data analytics. So he's looking to go into tax professionally. Please explain what you need to do
Okay,
to have
so same advice I gave someone earlier. If you are learning tasks for the first time, again, get ICANN materials. I think if you search online, or search just Google search, you will see those materials. ICANN materials on
taxation.
8 years. That's the preliminary ICANN stage on taxation. I think 8 years 2 and 3, and then get that of skills level, then get that of professional. Just follow that progression. Get that of professional level, and then start reading articles. Tax articles. The tax articles are everywhere, even on LinkedIn. Post write-ups on tax. But just follow that trend so that you first of all get a glimpse, a grasp of the basics before you start reading articles and write-ups.
Okay. So like I said, if you want to start tax, get ICA materials on taxation for 8 years for skills and for professional. I think even with that concept, you if you can read it from beginning to the end,
Hmm?
like you're as good as having like 60% or 70% knowledge of tax and everything. So like maybe just need maybe the practice and everything. So read
Mhm.
it like now. It spoke more of self-learning. So don't wait, don't wait to have a class that okay, well, tax class. Learn by yourself. Yeah, we have YouTube and the like. So the last question says, I'm coming from a business background. So really, I'm assume the probably is maybe biz admin. Is it necessary for me to start foundation courses in ICANN coming from a business background?
Yes, it is necessary. If you are a finance related professional and you are not writing professional course, I don't consider such a person serious at all. Especially at 2025, I'm not
Yeah,
writing a professional
professional
course.
courses. Yeah,
Forget it. You are not serious. That's me anyway. So it is necessary. Go and write it. What are you doing with your time? Just use social media, social life. Use your
yeah,
time to do something that will benefit you.
yeah. So even like in the company where I work, basically, the, there's a point that you can't get promoted until you have passed the professional course and nothing. Yeah. So don't
Mm,
just sit and say, okay, I'm just doing GT. Let me just say you
mm.
can do your professional courses alongside. So if you want to actually
Um,
start and like don't say it's hard. It's this. Start first, right? If you fail, you can always take it. Some people they're so scared of I can't hard though, I'll fail. Oh, no. Start with something, right? If you out of four, if you fail two and you pass two, the two you have passed has gone. You write the two that you so like don't just say okay, it's not a call, should I break it? Should I take the offer? And then you use like 6 months
you know,
to
you know, you know, these things happen, and a lot of people have misconception because people only share their success story. For example,
actually.
now when I can release the results, you see a lot of I have
I'm
had,
happy to share. I'm
but
free to announce.
one when you see one of that, I can assure you, 10 of that did not pass,
Yes, no pass,
and those
yeah.
ones will not share their story. I've
Yeah.
written icon before where it's called 16/100. So,
I'm meeting one
eh,
that's got 22. We move.
so a lot of people fail. So if you want it, you continue to write. That me, I
Yeah,
don't. When people come
right.
to me, I'm like, I've been writing this thing for a while. Now, what advice can I give them? I'm very plain. Continue to write until you pass.
Yes,
If you
right.
want it, continue to write. As simple as that. If you don't want it, then you stop. As
Yeah,
simple.
yeah. So I think that brings us to the end of this session. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for keeping. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for remaining here to the end. I'm saying a very big thank you to Tomi Akinwale for his time, for honoring our visit. Yeah, and yeah, I think that brings us to the end of the session. Thank you once again.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me.
I tell him thank you because see, time is money. In our world, we charge time to engagement.
Okay. So you understand.
Yeah,
That's
time is
1 hour, 30 minutes of my time. So I want to bill you now.
So
I'll be like, I think my
okay,
child outlet.
Victoria, your hands are raised up. Do you want
So,
to say
but
something before to be
I don't
going?
mind to share my knowledge.
Yeah, yeah, thank you very much, Tomi Akinwale.